Welcome back to Bead Digger Stadium. I'm John Beltran with Dave Urig and videographer Grayson Simmons as the Bead Diggers and Estes Park Bobcats about to do battle here at Bead Digger Stadium. This is Brush's 5th home game of the year, as they have 6 this season. The Bead Diggers are coached by Randy Dreitz in his 10th year. The assistants are Ron Albo, Lance Schwint, Dick Creighton, Matt Manier, Ken Garcia, and David Cummings, dressed in their home maroon uniforms with the white numerals. Estes Park and their road whites with the purple numbers and purple pants are coached by Randy Hinson. The assistants Butch McCown, Scott Miller, Byron Horner, Kurt Weibel, Brian Thomas, and Josh Flores. And something that we noticed immediately, Dave, it looks like the Bead Diggers have twice as many players as the Bobcats.
Yeah, I think Brush has them outnumbered. It looks like the Bobcats brought about 20 kids over there, and there's a good number of those boys that are less than 130 pounds. So it's not the typical opponent for Brush. A lot of small kids to play against.
Opening kickoff is brought to you by Ingmeyer Phillips Insurance, locally in Fort Morgan and Brush. Ingmeyer Phillips Insurance offers home, health, auto, farm, business, and workers' compensation insurance. That's Ingmeyer Phillips Insurance. Sam Keller-Twigg and Cale Robidart, who's only a freshman, are back deep for the Bobcats. It'll be Jacob Fechter to kick it off for the Bead Diggers, who after beginning the season at 0-4 can go all the way back to 500 with a victory tonight. And the Bobcats have really struggled this year in Patriot League play, 0-4, while the Bead Diggers, as we alluded to earlier, are 3-1. Fechter to kick it off for Brush. And he boots that football high and deep, and backing up and fielding it at the 6 is Keller-Twigg. He stutter steps to his right to the 10-yard line, across the 10, and he's down at around the 12. And Brandon Rutherford was down there for the Bead Diggers to make the tackle. And last week, the Bead Diggers were pretty darn good with field position. This week, just as good, as Estes Park will start from their 13.
Brush kicked it off from their bunch formation, where both bunches are inside the hash marks, and then right when they approach the ball, they all fan out to cover their lanes as they run down the field.
The Estes Park quarterback is Caleb Hightower. We'll see the Bobcats have any success moving the football tonight against this very talented Brush defense in a shotgun formation. 2 receivers out to the left and 2 to the right. Man in motion to the left is David Klein, and rolling to his left is Hightower, looking, throwing along the sideline. Man is out there, but it's overthrown at the 21-yard line. Cale Robidart was open momentarily, but it falls incomplete.
He overthrew him about 3 feet. Brush didn't have a lot of pressure on the quarterback that time until right at the very end when French broke free and was able to get his arms up.
It'll be 2nd down and 10 for the Bobcats at their own 13-yard line. On this second play from scrimmage, Tylox Holler is in the backfield, only a sophomore at 6 feet, 164. Shotgun for Hightower. He rolls to his left, wants to take off with the football, has some daylight to the outside of the 15, down to the 20. He's got a first down and still loose as he's dragged out of bounds at around the 29, maybe the 30-yard line, and no Bead Diggers were out there really to make the play until the tail end. And that's a gain of close to 16 yards and a first down as Brandon Rutherford drags Hightower out of bounds.
I watched the Brush defenders, the outside linebacker on that side, as he approached Hightower. It's like he hung back and waited to see if he was going to throw the ball. I think he was a little bit worried about a waggle pass right there, and it froze him in his tracks, and that's what enabled Hightower to run right down the sideline in front of his own bench. 1st
and 10 for Estes Park at their own 30-yard line. Under center now is Hightower, and he'll give the football off on the left side, and there's a big loss along the far sideline. And that was actually a pitch to Robidart. And Dylan French makes the tackle. It's a loss of 3. It was hard to see that play, David. It looked like Estes Park, at least this guys did pretty well from this standpoint, but all the Bead Diggers were right there to make the play.
Plus the fact Roberdart's about 100. It says he's 160 pounds, but he doesn't look that big, and French looked gigantic all the way wrapped around on top of him, throwing him out of bounds.
Backs are split, 2nd down and 13 from the 27-yard line, and Hightower rolling to his right. Weiser's coming with pressure. He's going to run out of it. He breaks out of a tackle at the 30-yard line. Stutter steps back towards the middle, across the 30 to around the 34, and there's a late flag. It's going to be a pickup of 7 yards in a play as Tyson Larrick made the tackle, give him 8 yards. And now let's see who that flag is against.
I'm afraid that one might be against Brush, as it looked like one of the Bead Diggers tackled a little bit too high.
And that means it would be a 15-yarder against Brush, placing that football more than likely at the 49-yard line, and the preliminary signal to come in the opening 41 seconds of the game, and they're calling it a 5-yard face mask. So a 7-yard gain now, officially, and a 5-yard face mask, and that'll keep it at second down and less than 2 yards to go with the Estes Park football at their own 39-yard line. It looks like the Bee Diggers still haven't woken up for this game.
They're a little bit on their heels, as well as Estes Park. You have to give them credit. They've come out with with a couple of different formations and a lot of different plays.
Second down and a long one just shy of the 39-yard line. Under center is Hightower, and he's back to throw, looking. A screen out to the left. That pass is caught by Robidart. 40-yard line, first down, and he's dragged down along the sideline by Shea Hansen at the 44. It's a gain of 5, and the Estes Park drive continues after that 5-yard gainer.
It's a nice screen over there to the left side. A naked screen. There was no blockers out there in front of him, but Hightower did a good job of dropping back into his pass and selling it to the right before he threw it back to the left, and that's what froze some of those Digger linebackers.
This broadcast over digital tie line technology is brought to you by Cargill Meat Solutions, taking as much pride in the community just as they do in the products they provide to their consumers. Cargill Meat Solutions, part of the KSIR B106 scholarship program. 2 receivers out to the left. 1 setback, 1st and 10. Hightower with a handoff, and that is a gain of 1 to Tylock's Holler as Tyson Larrick makes the play.
They actually had a wide receiver over to the left side, plus 2 twins. You couldn't see him very well because he was standing right on the sideline on his own team's bench, and they just tried to divert Brush's attention out there to those receivers and run the dive up the middle, and it didn't fool anybody.
Second down and 9 for Estes Park at their own 40-yard line. And a fairly light crowd tonight. I think the Beat Digger fans expect their team to win handily tonight, but you never take anything for granted. 2 receivers out to the left, 1 to the right. 1 setback on 2nd and 9 from the 40. Rolling to his left is Hightower, setting up. Pressure's coming, runs out of it. He runs to the 45-yard line, to the 50, back to his right to the 45. First down across the 45 to the 43 as Tanner Morrow makes the tackle. But that's a gain of 12 yards and an Estes Park first down.
You know, Estes Park has some guys that are blocking pretty well downfield, as a lot of the Diggers fly up there to make the tackles, but then Hightower does a good job of making a cut, setting those blocks up, and then he's getting them and turning it upfield.
Well, despite winning 3 games in a row, the Bee Diggers had defensive issues early on against Valley, and Eaton and Wells Central gained their share of yards the last 2 weeks, so the Bee Diggers have got to solve this right now against a team that is 1-6. 1st and 10 for the Bobcats at the Bee Digger 43. We're 2 minutes and 10 seconds in. Robidart in motion, resets, quick drop, and taking off with the football is Hightower right up the gut. He's got a solid gain across the 40 to the 35. He'll pick up 8 yards before the Bee Diggers and Derek Lynch make that tackle. And Shea Hansen as well. It's 2nd down and 2, and Brush right now is getting beat on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, they sure are, and you know, I think a lot of it's the fact that Hightower drops back into the pass, and that makes our defender, you know, our 4 down linemen, they're all trying to rush the quarterback, but they're being forced to take an outside route, and that's opening up that middle ground for running.
2nd down and 2 for Estes Park at the Bee Digger 35. This drive began at their own 13-yard line. Under center is Hightower. The backs are split. Nearly bobbled that football back to throw along the left sideline, incomplete. At around the 27-yard line, and it looked like the Bobcat receiver took a nice pop over there. Sam Keller twigged the intended receiver. It is 3rd down and 2. Not a bad idea for the Bobcats to take a shot there, considering it was a 2nd and short.
Yeah, I'm sure they were hoping the Diggers were going to bank on a running play up the middle, but Melendez was right there, and boy, he gave him a good shot right in the back as he came down.
9:01 to go in the opening quarter. The Bee Diggers have yet to see the football. The Bobcats have moved it from their own 13 to the Bee Digger 35, so that's 52 yards. Estes Park has moved it down the field, 3rd and 2 for the Bee Digger 35. And there was movement along the left side of the Bee Digger line, and I think it was Connor Weiser who moved, and if he was in a neutral zone, that'll be a first down for Estes Park at the Bee Digger 30, and that indeed was the case.
Brush's 2nd penalty on this drive, both of them for 5 yards, but both of them hurting.
Yeah, last week the first half penalties were illegal motions and illegal procedures, but penalties for the most part were limited last week in the 7-point victory over Wells Central. And the clock is supposed to run. It's been signaled to run, but no movement on that clock right now. 1st and 10 from the 30. Rolling to his left is Hightower, setting up, pumping, pressure coming. Dylan French nearly got him, throws along the sideline, and he just threw it away. Excellent throwaway there by Caleb Hightower. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
Well, there was some good pressure there by French, but I'll tell you what, Hightower showed some speed, and he ran away from him, and now Brush just needs to do a little bit better job of getting some containment from those defensive ends so that he can't get out there so far.
Well, if Hightower continues to throw the ball, it could be Bruce Melendez time, considering how many interceptions, he's got this year. Yeah, 2 receivers out to the right, 1 to the left. 2nd down and 10 from the 30. And rolling left is Hightower. Back to his right, throws a screen out to the right, caught by Robidart at the 31-yard line, swings it to the outside, and he's down at the 30. An excellent open field tackle by Tanner Morrow, who grabbed him from behind, and that turns into a no gain despite the fact that Robidart ran about 25 yards laterally.
Yeah, he did a good job coming from that linebacker position to be able to come up there and make that tackle. As he was playing his flats, but he was playing a little bit deeper, and the screen was throwing a couple yards behind the line of scrimmage, which gave the receiver a lot of running room.
This could be 4-down territory for Estes Park. It'll be 3rd down. We'll call it 9 from the Beat Digger 29-yard line with 8:13 to go in the opening quarter. So Estes Park has really controlled the football nicely. Man, you've got to look for Hightower to take off with the football, even if he's back to throw. He'll set up in a shotgun formation. 1 back to his left is Holler. Man in motion to the left is David Klein. Hightower rolling to his left. French is coming from the backside. He takes off with the football, and he tries to break out of a tackle, but the Beat Diggers grab him around the jersey, and he gets a couple of yards, maybe a couple of yards. We'll call it just 1 to the 28-yard line. And it looked like Derek Lynch, along with a couple of other Beat Diggers, were there to make the play. It'll be 4th down and 8.
I heard the coaches saying, use your shoulder out of frustration because the Diggers were having a hard time getting him down. Hightower's the program has him down at 145 pounds, and at the end of that play, even though Brush had about 8 guys there, he still wasn't on the ground.
4th down and 8 from the Beat Digger 28. If the Beat Diggers stop Estes Park here, Estes Park will have used up almost 5 minutes. We've got 7:10 to go in the opening quarter. 4th down and 8 from the Beat Digger 28. Trips to the left, 1 receiver out to the right. Quick drop for Hightower. Heaves it up the right sideline. That pass is going to be intercepted by Kukas at the 8-yard line, along the sideline to the 20. He sprints all the way down to the 35-yard line, back to the inside, across the 40 to the 42. A return of 34 yards, and the Beat Diggers are in business, and normally you'd think that it's better to bat down that football, but the Beat Diggers have better field position with that return as opposed to just knocking it down.
Boy, as Kukas took off with that thing here right in front of the Brush Beat Digger bench heading north, you could tell he was gaining speed, and he was looking to get to that end zone. He was hoping to break a tackle, and it was neat to see CJ run with so much aggression right there.
You're right. He really sprinted down the field, and we could have a quick strike offense tonight. 1st and 10 for the Beat Diggers at their own 42-yard line. They showed some big playability last week with 2 26-yard touchdown runs. A naked backfield. Trips to the right. In motion to the right is Shea Hansen. He gets the handoff on the end around, wants to throw the football. Man is wide open, and Kukas, he's got it at the 35, down the right sideline to the 20, the 15, 10, 5. Touchdown for the Beat Diggers. 58 yards off the Henson to Kukas pass, wide open along the sideline, and Brush leads 6-0.
Just a great play. I love that call because, Estes Park's coming off a little bit of a down off their own interception, but they're coming out expecting, like most teams do, maybe expecting a pass or screen or mostly a run, and then Brush comes out with like a halfback pass and catches them off guard and beats them. So just a great play and some great execution, and Hansen showed he has a great arm.
I'm going to use that in flag football. Why keep saying that every week for these plays? Jesus Cardenas to attempt the extra point. Off the hold of Garcia, waiting the snap. It's down. The kick is up. And that one is inside the right upright. 6:45 to go in the first. It's Brush 7, Estes Park nothing on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com.